because even with this podcast,
Right.
it's easy to get hung up on the house. And it's just go with it and not be so perfect about it. And
Well, keep checking in with God. If it's God-given, then
he's the best accountability partner there is.
yeah, why would we want to pass up an opportunity that God has called us to?
Right.
I hope that doesn't sound too cliche-ish or too easy, but honestly, that's reality. If God has called you to something, he will equip you and he will fulfill it. And you may not know how that's going to happen, but if he's placed it in your heart, get going. Fitness and wellness expert, naturopath, and adventure enthusiast Wendie Pett.
And my husband, Todd, is Burner. He's a fundraising guru, men's mentor, and Bible scholar.
And as a couple, we're going to share riveting breakthrough stories from our guests who've experienced the meaning of a changed life.
Our hope is that you will be inspired, equipped, and entertained along your own life journey.
So lean in, listen well. This could be your biggest breakthrough.
Hey, welcome to Your Biggest Breakthrough podcast. I'm Wendie Pett.
I'm Todd Isberner, and we are so glad that you are here and hoping you're going to stick around for the next 20 to 30 minutes because I really believe that what we are going to share today will have some real relevancy in your life. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this.
That's right. Well, I mean, we are heading into a new year, so
Yeah.
this is perfect timing for what we're going to share today. I mean, it's going to be 2021, babe. I mean, Todd.
Yeah.
I still say babe. You'll have to listen to another podcast on that one.
It's a trendy word.
Babe, hun.
Just like someday we're going to do a whole podcast on trendy words
Oh,
that
it's
I
a great
refuse
idea.
to buy into.
It's a great idea.
Okay, so
Look at him, I'm grooming him. See, you have to come on and watch the show
no,
because
please
on
do
YouTube.
not do that. It's a couple of monkeys. That's what it looks like.
No, okay,
Okay.
so we're going into 2021, and 2020 was an interesting year to say the least. But
Yeah.
we did also just have a beautiful Christmas. Hopefully, you
Absolutely,
did too.
indeed.
A little bit different for maybe you, and it was a little bit for us as well. But
Yeah.
the
The big-
reason for the season isn't.
That hasn't changed at all.
That hasn't changed at all.
Circumstances may have changed for you, and maybe this Christmas was just like none you've experienced before. You just didn't have family around, or whatever it might be. Maybe there's some illness in your family, or even grieving over the loss of a loved one because of what happened in 2020. But we're here to tell you that, it's time to turn the page.
Yes.
And God gives us so many opportunities for fresh starts, and that's what we're going to talk about in 2021.
Right. So as we're coming into this new year, it's an opportunity for a fresh start. It may not look so fresh, right out of the gate. But I believe that there will be a turnaround, and I think sometimes that turnaround is just in our attitude and having a fresh way of seeing things. And so,
I'm so glad you said that.
Okay,
because
thanks.
it's really true. I was just thinking about it. It's all about mindset. It really, truly is. Where is your mindset? The Bible tells us to be thinking about things above.
That's right.
And that's where our minds ought to be. Now, that doesn't mean we live in the clouds all the time, in la-la land, right?
Right.
But it means we have a perspective that only God can give us if we stay plugged into God and his purposes and align with what he wants to do. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about things like goal setting and all that kind of stuff.
That's right, because that's the thing.
Everybody talks about that.
That's what you do for the new year, right? Or you have that word. What's your word for the year?
No, that's a yearly theme.
A theme or a word.
Word or phrase. Yeah. Do you do that, by the way?
You know what? I have done it a couple times,
Yeah.
but it's not really my thing. But I have done it.
What
about
give us
you?
an example. What have you done
Well, there was
before?
one year I had the word clarity.
Ah,
So,
I might want to revisit that. I'm just thinking.
hey.
Not sure it took. No, I'm
Wait
kidding.
a minute.
I don't like yearly themes at all. I have never done a yearly theme. I know I see them on Facebook. I have friends ask me, like, what's
You
your...
don't see them on
what's your
Facebook.
theme?
You're rarely on Facebook.
Okay, well, I hear about it from you. And, it's like, I think it's really cool for people who want to really
But
focus
it does work
in
for a
and
lot
be
of people.
intentional. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's
I don't do
the
that.
word, intentionality.
Yeah, see, that's another theme word. Somebody's going to pick up
Well,
on that.
I'm using
Yeah.
it right now because we want to be intentional about how we're seeing the new year and how we have maybe fresh eyes and fresh vision for the year that's ahead and with the circumstances that we're in.
But do you want to hear something rather amusing?
What?
Okay, because like I'm a rebel when it comes to trendy, fatty things. Like, okay, everybody doing theme word. And so God spoke to me the other
Nice
morning.
face.
He did. I got to make faces because those who are just listening,
We'll have to come
and
to the
not
YouTube
watching,
channel. Yeah.
they'll never know. So God literally sort of broke in on my thoughts. I was actually out hiking in the woods, and He said, son, I want you to go with the flow this whole year. And I thought, I don't like going with the flow.
No, he does not.
I like to plan things out.
And
know
then
what's
I
coming.
came into his life.
Yeah, and I really learned to flow. So I literally, okay, I'm kind of spilling the beans. I probably shouldn't do that, but I'm going to do my best to think about going with the flow. Go with the flow.
Okay, now he is going to be held accountable for going with the flow. You've heard it all here.
Yes, indeed. So when it comes to this whole idea of looking ahead and goal setting, which is so key for so many people, is your inbox filled like mine with all kinds of items that people want you to buy, courses and goal setting plans and journals and all of that stuff? I mean,
fitness stuff, probably from me.
I'm typically yes, true. I'm typically a sucker for that kind of thing.
But you know what? This is the time that people start to think, okay, I want to do this. Yeah. This is a time to reset. And so how are you looking at resetting your year?
Well, maybe you're thinking about, like so many have so traditionally over so many years, like New Year's resolutions.
I want to lose weight. That's what a lot of people are.
I know, but you've got a great thought about resolutions. I'm trying to set you up.
Yeah. Here. Oh, I see. Where's that little thing? There we go. Right. Thanks. So I talk about resolutions as it's like a resolution. It's resolving an old problem. And sometimes people are trying to resolve the old problem with the same thing that didn't work before. Yeah. So you need to find a new thing that does work, and not only just finding a new thing, but sticking with the thing, because that's really the answer. Yeah. It's sticking with it. Because just like, most of the health clubs want you to do, not right now because they're not open.
But they used to. Yeah.
Anyway, but they want you to join because they expect you to stop after 2 to 3 months and rejoin again in the following year.
But it's true, isn't it, that there are the gyms are generally packed right after New Year's Day. People have made these New Year's resolutions. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then it doesn't take long. There are some stats out there about this, but I think it's like within 6 weeks, you just watch the decline on attendance at a gym. Yeah.
And partly, quote unquote, life gets in the way. And I would say that really your priorities have not shifted, and that's going to be the real test to how 2021 is going to look for you, is to set yourself with intentionality as your main priority. Because I always say, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. Maybe with daddy too. You got to take care of yourself, and that means mind, body, spirit, emotionally, all those things. So financially, wherever you're lacking and not in a masterful way of that particular area, it's time you get some resolve it, right? Okay.
So whatever it is that you are about to do in terms of New Year's resolutions or goal setting or whatever that is, Wendie is suggesting, or are you mandating, that we have a
it's a mandate. That was 2020 mandates.
True. Very intentional. So make it certain for you, or it will never happen. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the why and how that is so important. Whenever we set goals, it's like, why should I do that? Why do I want to do this or that? Why do I need this breakthrough? But before we get into some of that, let's start by doing a review because isn't it true? You don't want to start looking ahead until you've looked back a little bit.
What worked, what didn't. Yeah.
Completely, totally, 100% true. Now, when you look back at 2021, this is probably a year...
2020.
Oh, I'm sorry, 2020. Yeah. When you look back at 2020, you might go all the way back to the very beginning of the year, because I remember hearing a lot about 2020 is going to be this awesome year of vision and fulfilling vision and all of these
2020 vision. I think I said it myself. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
But I'm telling you, Wendie,
a positive word.
We were set up.
Unless it's
what?
The theme word, which is what it was.
Go with the flow. All right. So listen, everybody looks at that point forward and says, but wait a second, that didn't turn out anywhere near what was being sort of projected on us or predicted or what my own expectation was. I was anticipating 2020 was going to be like a crazy good year. Things were going to grow financially. Things were going to happen in my marriage. Things were going to happen in my career, with my health, my fitness. Things were going to happen within the church and revival and all of these things. And I mean, I got to say, even within the church, there were lots and lots from behind the pulpits who were saying, get ready for this year's going to be something else. Well, they were right.
Well, they
not
were
what we
right.
expected.
But the thing is God's vision is different than ours. And so that 2020 perfect vision is what's going on right now. And it's hard for us to see it because it doesn't look so perfect, but God has a perfect plan in the midst of all this. So,
let's be really, really honest about all of this. 2020 was for most people an extraordinarily painful year.
Yeah.
Painful in so many different
area.
ways within your family, within your finances, within your relationships, within health. And again, our hearts just go out for those who lost loved ones and didn't expect it. We've got several friends where this was the case, and it's just like being completely blindsided with something you never saw coming.
Yeah.
And the only thing left is to hang on to God with hope and with faith that He will make good on what He promised to do. And that is that He literally can bring good things out of things that don't seem so good at the moment.
For sure.
We cannot lose sight of that,
No,
because
we
there's a lot
can't.
of people going into 2021 who are still going to bring the pain along with them.
Sure.
Right?
And so how do you overcome that pain and even look ahead to have any kind of goals or to see the brighter side of things? And I think that, of course, that goes with drawing near to God and drawing near to His strength. But as you're looking ahead for 2021, it is important to have a vision. It is important to have a why you want to even be better in one area or another in the first place, right?
Well, I think part of that comes as you look over the things in 2020. It's like you literally can walk through the year month by month. And I want to suggest a couple of things. This actually came from a couple of different sources. So I'm kind of modifying and making it my own. But as you do a review, I mean, literally take out pen and paper and start writing some things down. You might even want to draw 2 columns, and one side is the plus, one side is the negative. And start listing out as you just go through maybe your calendar, your schedule, or just your thoughts about it. Start with January. Write down what happened. Under the plus, the good stuff, the good feelings that went with that. And under the
maybe
negative,
all you have to write is, I sat in my pajamas all month and did nothing.
Well,
no, that wasn't January. That was probably April.
That was March. That was March, yeah. But literally, you get the idea. I mean, just take the time and walk through every month and just write down under the plus the stuff that you were glad about, the stuff that brought you good feelings and good emotions and good connections and good things, and the negative side, those things that happened you didn't expect and that you wished wouldn't have happened. And as you go through that, I want to suggest when you get to the end of it, that you really do a careful review and you identify in each one of those areas maybe 20% of the things on that list that you really, really are excited about and that you want to take with you and maybe repeat or do better in 2021. And the things on the negative side, maybe it's something as simple as, I got frustrated with having to handle too many emails. Okay, it's a really small item. Or maybe it's a really big item, like I had a health issue that almost took me down. But identify those negative things and then look at that list and take about 20% of those and says, if I can, I will not repeat that in 2021. Now you become very intentional about making some really good changes for 2021. And as you get to the very bottom of it, I just want to encourage all of us to make sure that we reflect with gratitude. And you say, but if you look at my list of negative things, it far outweighs the positive things. You want me to be grateful for that? No. I want you to be grateful in that.
That's a good word.
Right? Because God promises that He can bring good from stuff that we don't understand that was bad at the time. So it's an act of faith, but we say, God, I don't understand all of it. I didn't like a lot of it. But I thank you. I thank you. You are controlled. You are in control of my life. You are my loving Heavenly Father. I know you have what's best for me in mind.
Right. And I actually have heard so many people, while there has been a lot of pain and a lot of struggle in 2020, I've had so many people that have shared with me how great it's been because they've been able to spend more time with their kids or, that kind of thing. So there is the flip side. So let's look at the flip side as well. But as we go into 2021, let's also look at what you've been stuck in for maybe quite some time. So I think of that because you have to acknowledge the space in which you are stuck in order to get out of the sticky, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't acknowledge it, you can't move through it. So having a breakthrough is first and foremost acknowledging and saying and being honest, really honest and authentic with yourself, and then start to have some sort of goals in place, and like even those SMART goals, right?
Yeah,
So
but I
are,
just want to stop for a second because what you're saying is so crucially important.
Right.
As you look ahead, you can't set goals unless you find something first that you're very aware of that you don't like, and you know it has to change.
Right.
It's not like I wish it would, I think it could. It's that this must change.
I have to take action.
I do not want to go forward anymore with being stuck in this place. I have to take action. It needs to. When you really start talking to yourself that way, you'll start capturing the motivation needed to start setting some goals. And the
also,
SMART goal is a good way. But
SMART goal is a good way, and we'll talk about that in just a second, because I was thinking about when you start talking to yourself that way, but also when you start to see the vision of what your life will look like 5, 10, 20 years from now if you don't take action, that's big motivation. Yeah. Or even having that vision of what your life will look like when you do take action. So there's two sides of that as well. That's very important to have that vision. But going back to the SMART goals is really important.
I don't know who created this.
I forget.
It's been out there for a while.
Forever, but they're awesome because we do it all the time.
It's an acronym. It starts for, S stands for
specific
goals, things for sure that you can detail out, okay?
And most importantly, measurable.
M is for measurable. If you can't measure this thing, you don't know if you're making progress. A is for
apple. Oh, I'm sorry.
Attainable. Is this thing really attainable? You don't set a goal like, I'm going to lose 150 pounds in the next month. Okay?
No.
Not attainable.
No.
Right? So make certain that the goal you set is attainable.
Right. And then the next one, R in SMART, is realistic.
Realistic.
That goes along the same lines. It has to be realistic.
I'm going to take the shuttle to the moon.
Okay.
Well, not just yet, but at some point. Okay.
And then it needs to have a timetable around it. You have to put a time stamp. So going back to, you said 150 pounds. Yeah. That was just an example. But that's like, okay, within the next 2 years or a year and a half, this is the time stamp I have on this. And here are my micro measurable points that I'm going to insert within that year and a half to 2 year goal, or whatever that is for you.
Yeah. I would say when you make it, I'm just going to jump in here a little bit.
And a lot of people know this. These are just reminders for you guys.
But listen, I've seen a lot of goals and they're not specific.
Right.
They don't have a timestamp on it. So I'm talking about getting as specific as at 12 noon on June 1st, I will have completed the manuscript for my book. Okay. Whatever it might be, it's really important to have that timestamp. So S for specific, M for measurable, A for attainable, R for realistic, and T, timestamp.
And I have a goal for the listeners, actually, and they can go ahead and say this with me.
Okay.
5 minutes after I listen to this podcast, I will go to yourbiggestbreakthrough.com and download it's called the starter kit for your biggest breakthrough. And this will actually ask you some really pertinent questions to help you with your 2021
goals. We are so setting you up to reach your first goal of the year. It'll take you 5 minutes.
Go, you can do it. You can
download it, print it.
It's free, and I think it will help you actually a lot. Just to identify where you're wanting to go in 2021 and kind of walk yourself through just some exercises.
Yeah. Okay.
So, very good. And then you listen to, well, and sometimes I do too, but.
No, I already covered that.
Oh, you did? Oh, I missed it. We have some notes here.
I was in the two columns, the plus things and the minus things. It's a great way to do the review.
Oh, yeah.
After you do that, then when you sort of summarize everything, you're able to look ahead and say, okay, this is going to change in 2021. And that's allows you to start setting the goals that are important to you. And like Wendie said earlier, it takes true mindset shift and intentionality. And I want to add something else. Oh, go ahead. I could tell you took a big breath. Going,
well, it does. It takes mindset shift and intentionality. But a big thing is it takes accountability. We can want something all day long. Yeah. And if you're not that kind of person that will just go and do it, which there are, I would say 10 to 20% maybe of the population are wired that way. The most of people need accountability. They need that hand holding in whatever area they need to step up their game and get to the next level in. Yeah. So accountability, like you hold me accountable, I hold you accountable.
Yeah.
It's fun and not so fun all at the same time.
You're
but same
so
with
right
my
about
clients,
that. Yeah.
same with the guys you mentor, it's accountability.
Yeah, if you don't check in and find out, I mean, I'm talking about with you in regards to your goals, checking in with somebody, not you, Wendy.
Oh, but true, right.
and have somebody walk through this with you, it likely just isn't going to happen.
No.
Can I give one kind of simple example?
I love it, yes.
Well, I've read about this like a year ago about this woman who was going to have a baby, and she was gaining a lot of weight. Had her baby, had way too much weight than she expected, was a Facebook person, and ended up, she should have actually got Wendy's plan because seriously, but she ended up going through a whole year of sort of reporting on Facebook. Because that group was accountable on the plan that she was going to work and how she was going to lose weight and all that. So have somebody, some way keep you accountable as you reach out towards these goals.
100%.
Okay.
100%. Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking.
What's on your mind?
So here's what's really funny.
What?
So I used to be an avid goal setter. Did you get that? Used to be.
That's true.
So much so
like
that
on New Year's Day, that's what we did. We sat down and
dominated my life.
That's true. You can be obsessed with it too.
I've got like
this balance.
1-year goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals, 20 years goals, and
have you checked them all
I've got
off?
them in my smartphone, and actually I have once in a while go in and I go, oh, I reached that one, I didn't even know it. But it can get so carried away. Don't do that to yourself.
That's good.
In fact,
it
honestly,
could be bondage as well.
I'm in a place in life right now where there's almost a little rebel in me, like, okay, if I'm going to go with the flow, I'm going to have to learn to adjust and react and be flexible, and pivot pretty quickly. So that doesn't mean I won't be setting goals. I have a couple in mind already, but it does mean that I will not be dominated and ruled by something on a piece of paper that says this is what you got to do and you better follow through.
He's come a long way, everybody. He's come a long way. Like he's the kind of guy that has the sticky note with the little boxes that he's created that he checks it off, and which is great. That's fine.
You got my goal setting journal thing here that follows through every day on what you're supposed to be doing, and
which is awesome.
I got another journal, by the way, in case that one doesn't work too good. Then I go over here. These is more like where is it like the idea stuff and all.
I actually just put my to-dos on my calendar or on my to-do list on my cell phone.
Is that working for you?
It's working great.
Is it working for you?
Yes, because if it doesn't get done on that day, I move it to the next day.
Yeah, no, that's good.
I don't get so hung up on having to get it all done. And Todd, you were wired that way. You still kind of.
I'm now
that needs to all get done, like
to
your emails.
With the flow. What about the emails?
Like your emails? Okay,
this is a great goal for everybody. Get rid of your stupid emails. Don't be cluttered with your box. How many emails do you have in your inbox? I want to know how many. Last time I looked, I'm serious.
No, don't.
I happened to glance, it's like 5,800.
No, there are a lot of emails in
Unbelievable.
there. Unbelievable. That's been our word. Unbelievable. But no, Todd has to get it down under 50 every night.
Yeah.
You're getting better about that. Like if it's over 60, he's cool with it.
I still sleep at night.
So we all have our thing, right? Mm-hmm. But goal setting doesn't have to hold you bondage. It doesn't have to be such a controlling thing. But it can also be a great way to reach your goals, because how are you going to go to where you desire to go if you don't know where you're going and have a destination in mind?
Everybody wants to advance in life, right? We all want to come up to a new level.
Maybe not everybody does, but I hope they do.
I think deep down God has wired us
to want to be better.
Well, just like himself, God is so creative, and he's given everybody a desire and an ability to create and to produce and to do good things. The Bible tells us that before the world was even created, God had already planned out certain things for us to do. This is in the book of Ephesians.
Think about that. Isn't that cool?
And he says that we are his masterpiece.
Yes.
So think about that when you sit down and you look ahead and you say, so how can I really be everything that God has created me to be?
And look in the mirror. Masterpiece. Think of that.
Well, I don't. That's a little bit over the top.
No,
I don't
seriously.
like looking in the mirror and doing that mantra stuff. Like,
I'm just saying, why not?
I'm a wonderful creature.
Okay, you know what?
I'm kidding. Remember that?
I think there are some, and part of the exercise of the starter kit are I am statements.
In front of the mirror.
Yeah,
no, that's true. The I am statements. Okay,
so
you're right. Those are
I am healthy. Yeah. I am smart. I mean, you remember that little girl that was on, it's a YouTube video or something,
oh my
and she's
goodness.
on top of the
she's
vanity,
like
and she's
6,
in front of the mirror going, I am
whatever.
beautiful, I am smart.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's something
over
to
the
that.
Top.
okay, maybe it's over the top, but still understanding who you are in Christ, but also I am statements are powerful as opposed to what I am not, focusing on your strength rather than your weakness, even though we are only as strong as our weakest link within our own chain, so to speak. So we do want to strengthen that weakness, but we want to go where we're strong and to really declare that. And so there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
got that?
Yeah, I'm totally buying that hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
All right,
Power in words.
And dream a little bit too, right?
Yeah.
I think sometimes we stop dreaming because
There's a song about don't stop dreaming.
Really?
Oh, is it believing, dreaming, believing?
It's a country song? It's probably
no,
a
I think
country
it's
song.
Journey. Don't stop believing.
All right.
I digress.
I
but
think
don't stop
sometimes
dreaming.
we stop dreaming because we stop hoping, and especially if we've been through rough things, it's really tough then to sit down and start to dream again. But I really believe this is a gift that God has given to us to dream big things that are way out of reach for you, that only God could accomplish through you, right?
Right.
So dream, and then obviously...
Wait, don't skim over that. That was really fast, actually.
Okay.
Because I love that. I think dreaming is big. And so how do you go about dreaming? And I don't mean just like drifting off into la la land. I think it's kind of in that prayer and meditation time that you dream, that you allow God to just have that divine download into your soul and into your heart, so that you're like, you come alive again. And
we just had a guest on recently who shared about sort of the dreams that God put in her heart.
Yeah,
and she was not at all looking for that. Right. And it happened during a time of prayer and worship. And God started to drop some things in her heart.
Yes.
And I was just going to say, you've got different places where God meets you. And a lot of times when something comes into my head and my heart, oftentimes it's I'm alone out in the woods taking a walk. And God starts to stir something inside of me. And I've got a choice at that point, just like you do. You maybe heard from God that there's been a nudge inside of you. He's just been tweaking some things, and you've got this restlessness and this little nudge thing, but you don't really know what to do about it because, frankly, you're afraid, and you're thinking, well, if this is really something God wants me to do, I don't know how to do this, and it's
you get hung up on the how stuff. Well, how's that going to work? How am I going to? That's what
in Minnesota it's how pies.
Our friend calls them the how pies. But like, how are you going to pay for that? How am I going to figure that out? How's this going to work? You get so hung up on that it snuffs out the dream. And I think it's important. I mean, I'm kind of reminding us as we're talking about it, not to get hung up on the how stuff, because even with this podcast, it's easy to get hung up on the hows. And it's just go with it and not be so perfect about it. And we'll
keep checking in with God. If it's God given, then
He's the best accountability partner there is.
Yeah. Why would we want to pass up an opportunity that God has called us to?
Right.
I hope that doesn't sound too cliche-ish or too easy, but honestly, that's reality. If God has called you to something, He will equip you and He will fulfill it. And you may not know how that's going to happen, but if He's placed it in your heart, get going.
Okay. I want to share a story on that. Not me, but yours. And it's because it's fresh on my mind, because we just talked about the other day about when you were in your prayer chair and God dropped in your spirit about the dirt cookies. Can we talk about that? Because that's a great story.
Well, so this was back in 2009, and there was a world crisis, a food shortage, where just many, many people were hungry and starving to death. It was a global food crisis. And
it's still going on, but it was exponentially.
Yeah, no, it was exponential because there was a fuel crisis also, and people could not get the fuel. The distribution channels were all busted up, so it was just horrible. And I was working with Compassion International, and we were able to travel to Haiti and some other countries. But in Haiti, the mothers were literally making dirt cookies. And they would take some flour and mix it and a few other things. And
children.
I mean, I almost like want to just choke up when I think about this, because it's so foreign to our concept of how we live, and these precious kids. Anyhow, to make a long story short, God implanted with me a desire to go, and we were working with Christian radio stations all around the country, and we thought, why don't we have a nationwide, one-day global food crisis outreach where we literally can raise as much as God will throw our way to go help those who are in need. And It was a huge project. It came about in about like 3 months, and God blessed it extraordinarily because it was given to him. I didn't know how we were going to pull this off. We pulled a team together, and little by little, everybody started to fit in and started to get momentum. And make a long story short, over 1,000 radio stations on that same day carried that global food crisis appeal. And all told, when you think about child sponsorships and everything else that happened, almost $11 million came in to help a lot of hungry kids. So
that's cool.
It just sometimes God will surprise you, friend. If he drops it in, though, you got to make the first move and start taking some action on it, whatever it is.
That's so good. I just wanted you to share that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because I, as an outsider, but close to Todd, of course, looking in, I just was like mind blown. And that's another way that I know that it wasn't just you, it was God, because there were so many pieces that God just orchestrated and put together. And so dream and dream big and listen to that still small quiet voice, because he is greater, he is bigger, and he wants to use his people to do a mighty work. And so he wants to use you, my friend. And so set those goals for 2021. No matter how the circumstances look right now, set them and think and dream big, because he's got, like I said, big plans for you so that he gets the glory.
Now, having said that, all of that, and having this dream, this vision, everything, then all you need to do is just like put your feet up on the desk, sit back, and watch it all happen, right?
Got to have a plan.
All right, so I'm really stating the obvious, but we obviously had to have a plan to make that come about. And you keep, your plan keeps changing because God will redirect you or guide you or give you some added insight. But we do have to take action and get going. So we identify what it is. We answer the question, why is that needed? Why should I fill in the blank? And then you talk with God about it, and you ask for his guidance as you begin to shape a plan together. And the most important thing then is you take the first step and you remain accountable so that you'll have that motivation, that constant incentive to keep it going and not let it drop.
Get moving. That's the word. Get moving. Well, blessings, my friends, and Happy New Year. We are expectant of an incredible 2021. No matter what it looks like, it will be great. And so bless you. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Go to yourbiggestbreakthrough.com and download the starter kit. I think that will bless you and get you started on some New Year resolution type of goals and get you started there and on your way. So blessings, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Your Biggest Breakthrough.
Take care, friends.
Well, that's a wrap for today's show. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, we love spending time with you right here on Your Biggest Breakthrough podcast. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. But until then, just head on over to yourbiggestbreakthrough.com, where you'll find some free resources and information and a place where you can comment, and we would love to dialogue with you there. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.